Hello, welcome to a very special episode of Worth It One Stop. We got the Worth It crew in the car here. You can put our names above our heads, you know?
We are revisiting a place that we've been to before. It's called APL in Hollywood.
It was family style meat.
And one of the signature features of this restaurant was a special knife that Adam Perry Lang, the chef, made himself. And because we ate a very tender meat last time, we're going to be going back to eat a proper steak and see him make this knife, which has the very impressive price of $951. But it's for a good reason.
$950.
$950.01.
So we're gonna see the knife get made. We're gonna eat a steak. Sounds like a great day to me. Also, Annie came the most prepared for this shoot, as you can see from her earrings.
Hi, I'm Casey Lund. I'm a bladesmith specializing in swords and chef's knives.
I'm Adam Perry Lang, APL restaurant. I'm a chef and bladesmith, and I'll say it, master swordsmith and bladesmith. He won't say it, but he's the man.
Swords and chef knives.
Yeah.
Those two don't seem to be the closest in the family together, but I guess they are.
Sure they are. They cut things.
Yeah. Swords are for bigger things.
Your fascination for blades, where did that come from?
Probably 80s B movies.
Really?
You know, always wanted a sword. I was, typical boy, I guess, as a teenager, and that's when I started.
And today we're going to be making the felony steak knife.
Why is it called the felony knife?
To commit a felony in California, it has to be an amount above $950. It's priced to be a deterrent. You know, it's not priced to sell. I'm just looking to hold on to my stuff. I invest so much time in the entire customer experience that for me it was the logical last piece of the puzzle. I could procure the beef, age it, cook it, gets put out to the customer, and I didn't want to give them a crappy blade. You know, I wanted to give something that was truly meaningful. So for me, it was really a statement.
We've heard chefs describe the making of food hundreds of times, but never of a knife. So if we could just go into now the step-by-step process of making this knife in particular.
You know, we'll take a round bar of steel, break that down into bar stock under the big forging hammer. The ABL steel that we use was developed in Sweden, and it was designed specifically to be used as razor blades. Crush that down into a flat plate, essentially. Blades get cut from that bar.
The shape really came out of the function of it. How much of the blade do you actually use when you're cutting a steak is typically like only the first third of the blade. So for me, the actual design came from what's called a drop point hunter, where the blade itself is shifted down on the most basic level. It's just mouthfeel. Cutting with something as opposed to like tearing it up and having this like feathery, cottony piece of like torn meat. Cutting with a good blade is just like, it already starts off the whole moment right.
Without a proper heat treat, doesn't matter what steel you used, if you didn't heat treat it right, it's garbage. That's where my specialty's been at for so many years, developing these digitally controlled salt pots.
It's actually how we met. And when he started talking about possibly blowing myself up, I said, I think I'm gonna have to become friends with it.
What are the risks?
The high temperature salt is running 1600 degrees Fahrenheit. If you had a little bit of moisture, one drop of water, it'll blow like a shotgun out the tube. So you'll blow 1500 degree molten salt out. So by heating up the blade, and if you cool it quickly enough, you'll form a microstructure called martensite. It looks like a bunch of needles all stacked together. For this particular steel, then after that, once you can touch it with your hands, it has to go into liquid nitrogen. And that brings it down to negative 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And that will actually complete the hardening process. When you sharpen the edge and you look at it under an electron microscope, you can actually see the carbides. They look like little saw teeth. The smaller those are, the better a slicer the blade's gonna be.
I mean, you can really cut a steak with a store-bought knife. There's no question about it. But the question is the intention behind the blade. And, it's like a transfer of energy of just like, hey, we did the best that we could in just this whole entire process. And it's interesting to know the story behind rather than just kind of creating these meaningless objects that just are there for us just to use. Because at the end of the day, what's the point?
That's good.
Well, I must ask, we're gonna eat a steak tomorrow. What steak would you recommend that we actually pair this knife with?
I'm just such a huge fan of the tomahawk because you get all these different textures and muscles that you would get here. You have like 4 different ones. You have the meat along the bone, you have the decal outside, you have the eye meat, you have all the things in between. So I'm gonna just say the tomahawk steak, which is the ribeye. I'm getting hungry already.
I'll second that one. That's good.
Sounds great. So here we have the APL $950.01 felony knife.
At the forge, we saw the high polish finish, and this is the tumbled finish as it is at the restaurant, which I really love.
How's the hand feel?
Feels good. I hope I don't look menacing just getting so much pleasure from holding a knife.
Okay, all right.
So the knife is not the only weapon at the table. We also have the tomahawk.
I thought you were gonna be like, these guns.
No, although also yes.
Cheers.
The only thing left to decide is who gets to go first. Who gets the first stab? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Damn it.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so this is my cut.
Nice
right there.
one.
Not that I want to hand a really dangerous knife to a baby. The strength of a baby could have cut through that, but don't give knives to babies. Oh, how do you feel?
I keep looking at the knife. It's weird. I just picked up this beautiful piece of steak, but my eyes stayed right here.
When I cut into it, it felt like I was putting on a glove that fit perfectly.
That was so good.
Oh.
Usually I mourn finishing taking a bite of something so delicious, but when I'm done with my bite,
Yes.
it's knife time again. Ooh.
Oh. I would not be afraid to take the path less taken with this knife. All right, I'm gonna cut the meat off the bone right here. My favorite part of the meat. Oh.
I'm super jealous that you get to do this. Wow.
Off the bone.
Up here, there's a different part of the meat, the decal. Ooh. Oh, that's... It's a different texture at the top of the tomahawk, so you get a slightly different knife experience. I think my teeth are jealous of this knife.
Oh yeah. The idea of a felony knife, it's fun, it's goofy. What it really does is it allows us to appreciate the level of detail that goes into this knife.
You sit down and see this knife here, and you just think, oh, this is gonna be good. It's always the little details. You're like, oh, this is not just gonna be some old dinner.
So like when you look at my fashion choices and you're like, this is gonna be a good time.
No, no one thinks that.
Okay, fine, but they do when they look at Adam.
Oh, yes!